Well, hello everyone and welcome to another video. Um, I have a knockoff, obviously, of the NES Classic, and it's called the Cool Baby. And with no further comments on the name, let's check around the device. It has AV stereo sound and micro USB for power inputs and outputs on the back. I think now it looks better. So we have micro USB for powering up the device, video output, and stereo sound. Don't take it for granted, I'm not sure if it is stereo. The device is delivered with a couple of old school controllers with very short cable, a very short line. An actual copy of the old Nintendo controllers, which actually have been left way back in time using 9-pin Atari compatible. Holding the Cool Baby in your hands, you can immediately say that it is a very cheap construction. It weighs like an A4 piece of paper. And on the front panel we can find two joystick ports, a LED indicator, a reset switch, and the on-off switch. So I cannot wait to power it up, to be honest, because supposedly it holds 600 games. And of course we all know from similar knockoffs that this is not true. There is a variation over some other variation, and so on and so on. And this little console is no different. And since I've been using a couple of those in the past when I was younger, now I really want to check the pros and cons of this particular device and make a list so that anyone can be aware of what to expect for his 25 bucks. And I'm willing only to present the facts, not to criticize over the device. So no HDMI output, only RCA plugs for audio and video. And with that said, you can see the resolution is not great. So if you're going to give it away to a kid, that's fine, but for us who can remember the NES Classic and the good old days of the Nintendo consoles, then I guess the quality of the graphics and the resolution and the look and feel of the games cannot be compared to any of the Nintendo consoles, the original ones in the past. So another thing I wanted to point out is that there is no SD card, so you can change or erase and add new games to the console. So whatever is there for you, and that's all you can get. Now let's go to something interesting. I have opened several of those in the past, just out of curiosity when I was a kid. I have destroyed a couple, but anyways, I want to remove the 4 screws on the bottom part, and then we can check what is inside. Those systems used to be based around proprietary chips, bulbs that were fitted onto the PCB hardwired, and you couldn't even tell what's the type or model or number or anything because it was a proprietary chip, a totally custom made chip that could hold the video output, the games themselves, the audio, and some other controlling mechanism, for example input devices like the joysticks. So in principle, that's the way it used to be. Proprietary chips around the knockoffs from China without any type or description or anything on them. And I'm really wondering now if this is anyhow and by any chance different, and how they have progressed. As I can tell by the weight of it and the quality, I do not expect much. And this is quite a surprise. We have 3 different PCBs inside this guy. This flipped one holds the input from the joysticks, reset and power, and that one in the back holds the video output and the power in. But what is interesting is the blue PCB in the middle, which actually has one big chip among others by Samsung. and it looks to me that this is a video game all-in-one module. But I wasn't aware of that. I didn't expect that, and I didn't know that Samsung distributes such a module to other vendors for creating their own video games. So I don't know. This is interesting. I put the link down below, and type whatever is written on the chip, and I'm going to look for it around the internet. And so this is the first plus sign I'm going to put in this video, because this is quite a surprise. No more proprietary chips from China without any description, but rather a well-known world leader in electronics module by Samsung, which is the heart of the system. And this is really a big thumbs up for you guys in China. So after looking over the internet for a while, I found out that this is a BGA kind of PCB. I am not sure if this is still in production, and on top of that, there is no clear indication of the cost for each of these modules, because in most cases the suppliers would like to sell those in bulk orders. And I made this little part of the video with the full description and the specs around this IC, this module, this chip. And of course it is usually called a multi-chip. And it has its own RAM on the side to work with, along with all the input devices, in other words, the gamepads. And maybe specifications wise it is not cutting edge technology, but it's much better than the previous versions over the years. I remember knockoffs from the year 2000 that have been around this proprietary chip again, and they were just useless. Okay, I have an idea. Let's make an experiment together. Since I'm a well-known junk collector, I will look around the lab to find an old type of joypad from the previous models, whatever models, but definitely a knockoff joypad, which needs to be similar with the cross and a start button and everything, so I can test it. And I think I found one. It's this black one, which comes from the previous century, and I mean literally from 1996 or something, from another knockoff console of that time. So I'm going to use this one and check with the games if the movement is right, the start button works fine, and everything like the one that we have presented today. So if this will work, then I should put another plus sign for the backwards compatibility to this clone. One thing I have noticed so far is that the cable that the 1996 model comes with is much thicker than the the one from the console nowadays. So I'm going to press the start button if the start button is compatible and it works. So let's try this, and I guess it's working. So I'm going to now try the cross, left and right movement, and the fire button, so I can check that actually, yeah, it works just fine, and the fire button is working. So it's absolutely compatible. I'll play a bit around with this more, but I think, oh, lost live. But I think it's working just fine. So the controller from 1996 tested and working on a console from the year 2020. That's interesting. So they haven't changed a lot of things. Even like I said, the cable is thinner. Their main goal has always been to reduce costs and follow up with more and more games, which apparently is the same bunch of games, and only a handful of recent games have been added. But marketing wise, these consoles must have sold millions around the world. And why? Because the price is right. So this is another plus sign on the pros for this console. because at the end of the day, price is what everybody cares about. Browsing over the games, just another point I'd like to add: the fact that many games are in Chinese language. So are they looking to sell around the world or what? In the games industry, usually they do have special groups of people and developers to translate the games and make them international. And apparently the Chinese do not seem to care about that much. And so we have finally reached the last point and the last minus sign I'm going to put on the list. It's because the device is so lightweight that if you try to play a game, it is absolutely certain that finally you will end up dragging it around the house. And so what's the verdict? What's the conclusion? Bootlegs and knockoffs worth it after all? Well, to me it sounds like a matter of price, for the most part. I got this console from the local flea market for 10 bucks. I wouldn't call it a ripoff. Yes, I can only play limited games, but if tomorrow this device breaks, I don't care. So it is totally up to you to decide if knockoffs and bootlegs from China are worth it after all. As I usually do, I'm going to put the list with the pros and cons so far in the comment section so you can review. I would love to see your comments and whatever you need to note. You know the drill in the comments section. Share your ideas, your experiences with knockoffs, if you will, and of course your personal point of view. How do you feel about bootlegs and knockoffs from China? I would like to read your story. So now I'm calling this a wrap for today. Please subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and I hope you liked this video. You found it useful in any way. I liked it very much, and I'll catch you soon with another video. I have some projects on the side, but now I think I need to relax a bit playing some Galaxian games. So yeah, I'll be around. You'll be notified, and yeah, keep it up. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.